Hello everyone, welcome back to Priyan classes. I am Prabhat Kumar once again with you. Today I am taking this chapter for 11th standard, that is chapter is interests. So before this I have given you so many videos on different chapters for class 11th, and now this is the one very interesting chapter. The name is interest and the chapter is also very interesting. Okay, so now before I proceed, I would like to give you the concept of what is interest. Interest is what? Suppose that there are two men, the person are A and B. Okay, if A is having an asset and this asset is required by B, so A lends it to B for a particular time. For a particular period of time. Now, for what? Because A has spent some money, A has earned this asset, and why he should allow B to use it? Obviously, B will have to pay some consideration to A or some benefit to A. That particular benefit that A is getting is termed as interest. It is termed as in most of the things it is given different names. Okay, so for example, if you are hiring a taxi, okay, so the taxi or the vehicle is owned by some other person. You are hiring that vehicle for your own commutation, for going from one place to another. So for that purpose, what you pay, you don't only pay the price of the petrol or price of the fuel. You are also paying something extra. That extra amount or the total amount that you are paying to the man or paying to the taxi driver or paying to the owner of the taxi, that is called the fare of taxi, and this is actually the interest that is being paid to the owner. So in this chapter, what we are in commercial world, mostly money is lent and borrowed by the people. Okay, so once for this purpose, once again, money is owned by one person and it is being utilized by some other person or the borrower. So here, if I take A is lending some money to B, that means A will be the lender and B will be the borrower. Okay, but for what purpose, for what benefit A will be giving his earned money to B? That benefit that B will be giving to A while returning his money, obviously B will have to return the money after some time. Suppose that he takes 1000 rupees, he needs, and after 1 year he says, okay, now I have earned 1000 rupees from other sources and I want to return it to you. But for 1 year, what purpose? What is the benefit of A? B will be paying not 1000 but something extra. This extra amount that B is paying is called the interest earned by A or interest paid by B. Now this interest is calculated in two ways. Okay, the interest is, there are two kinds of interest. One is called the simple interest and the other is called the compound interest. Okay, in simple interest, you will see that the rate of interest, the rate at which the interest has to be paid is fixed. For example, as I have taken earlier, if rupees 1000 has been lent, and after, so it is said for each month you will have to pay say 50 rupees. So this rate is fixed for each month. Whatever number of months the money has been utilized by the borrower, he will multiply the number of months with 50 and add the main borrowed amount, that is 1000, plus the interest he will be paying back. Suppose that he is paying after 6 months. So for each month he is paying 50 rupees. So for 6 months he will be paying 300 rupees. So after 6 months he has to return 1000 plus 300, that means 1300 rupees. So this is a fixed rate of interest goes on. Okay, but in compound interest, the story is different. In compound interest, what happens? The interest after a certain interval of time or after a predefined interval of time, the interest is calculated. It is added to the borrowed amount, which is called the principal amount. Okay, the principal amount is what? The amount which has been originally borrowed from the lender, or the amount which the lender has given to the borrower. Okay, that is the principal amount, and interest will be calculated after each predefined period. That predefined period, how it is being calculated, that I will explain in later on in this video only. So after each predefined period, the interest is calculated, it is added to the principal, and the total amount becomes the new principal for the next period. Okay, so for the next period you are paying interest on the principal amount and also on the interest accrued in the previous period. So in compound interest, why it is called compound? Because interest, you are paying interest on interest also. Interest is being paid on interest. So this is called compound interest. Now compound interest, now how do we calculate it? There are, once again, maybe the rate of interest may be fixed, may be varying. Okay, it may be possible that the lender says, okay, if you are paying me within 1 year, okay, I will charge this much interest only. But if you are not paying within 1 year, you are paying after 1 year, then after 1 year I will charge much more, a different rate of interest. Even if you are not paying after 2 years, that means after 2 years, once again the rate of interest will be changed. So this all goes on continuous. In some cases the interest is calculated or the interest is being compounded continuously also, because you have studied about the limits and the continuity. So we can go on for that phase also. So to start with, I will start with simple interest. Okay, for simple interest, what we do is, it is the most simplest form of interest calculation. Okay, how do we calculate? You have got one amount that is called principal. Okay, that is denoted by P. Okay, there is another amount, rate, another figure that is given to you, that is rate of interest. Mostly it is given as percentage of principal amount and for 1 year or for one particular period. So let's represent it as R. It will be given as percentage of principal, okay, per year, per annum, or same thing per year. Mostly it is given like that. Okay, and the third is time. It will be represented by T. Okay, that is number of years. If rate is given per year, then it will be number of years. If it is given per month, then it will be number of months. Okay, whatever it is. So it will be depending on what is the rate given to you. Both should be in the same parameters. Okay, so what will happen? Very simple. The interest will be what? For 1 year, the interest will be, as I said, it is R percent per year. So for 1 year, it will be P multiplied by R by 100. Okay, this is for 1 year, and for T number of years, it will be multiplied by T. Okay, so now this becomes P into R into T divided by 100. This is your interest. And what will be the total amount that is to be paid back? The total amount is represented by A, and that will be equal to principal amount plus interest amount, as I told you earlier in the example also, that if the interest is 300, borrowed amount is 1000, so principal amount was 1000, interest is 300, and the total amount that is to be paid is 1000 plus 300, that is 1300. So similarly, this will be principal plus interest, or I can say it as P plus PRT by 100, or it can be calculated like this also, P multiplied by 1 plus RT by 100. The most simple form of calculation of interest. Now we will go to the complexity. So how do we go? That means complexity comes when we are changing it to compound interest. Okay. Now in the compound interest, as I told you, the interest is to be compounded, or interest is to be added to the principal after each predefined period of time. Okay, after each predefined period of time. So in that case, what parameters we will be having is, first thing will be your principal amount as usual. Second thing, rate as in time, as in the simple interest also. The third is N, or I should take it as T as usual. Okay, principal, rate, time, but at the same time you should know what is the predefined period of time after which the interest has to be added to the principal to get the new principal. That is called conversion period. So N will be taken as number of conversion periods. Now see, what is the difference between number of conversion periods and time? Suppose that the interest is to be compounded annually. If it is given that interest is being compounded annually, that means after each 1 year, the interest will be calculated and added to the principal amount. Okay, and to get the new principal. But if it is said that interest will be compounded half yearly, then what will you do? That means in 1 year the amount is being compounded 2 times. So in 1 year you have got 2 conversion periods. So that is the thing that is given to you, and this R is actually not as in case of simple interest. I have told you that this R is as percentage of principal for 1 year, but in this case R will be as percentage of P for 1 conversion period. Okay, so time will be used only for the conversion period for finding out the number of conversion periods, and it will be, for example, if interest is to be compounded annually and R is 10% per annum, then there is no difference. Okay, but if interest is compounded half yearly and rate is given to you as 10% per annum, There is a difference. Rate is per annum, that is per year, but conversion period is half year. So I should find out what should be the rate for half year. If it is 10% for complete year, then for half year it will be 5%. For 1 quarter it will be 2.5%. So depending on the periodicity or the length of the conversion period, you have to derive what is the rate of interest per conversion period, not per year. Okay, so this is what. Now I will calculate how. Now you see, after or for the first conversion period, okay, what is your principal? P. What is your rate of interest? R. And what will be time? Obviously it will be 1. Okay, because I am calculating for one conversion period only. I am not calculating the total interest here. So time will be 1. So now first you calculate interest, just like take it as I1. Just like simple interest, I will calculate. It will be P into R divided into 1 divided by 100. Okay. Then what will be amount A1 after first conversion period? That will be P plus I1 or P plus PR by 100, or I can say it as P multiplied by 1 plus R by 100. Okay, this is your amount A1 after first conversion period. And as I told you, after first conversion period, the interest will be added to the principal, and whatever is the amount, this becomes the new principal for the second conversion period. Okay, so now for the second conversion period, what is there? I have got principal as P2, or I can say it as A1. R will remain same, number of and time period will remain same. So what will be the new interest? This interest will be calculated on this principal, that means the total amount. So this will be equal to what? P2 into R divided by 100. Okay, and what will be the new amount? A2. That will be P2 plus I2, or I can say, what is P2? P2 is A1 and A1 is this one. So I should first I will write P2 only. P2 plus P2 into R by 100, or it will be P2 1 plus R by 100. Now for P2 I will substitute this value. This will become P into 1 plus R by 100 and again multiplied by 1 plus R by 100, or I can write it as P into 1 plus R by 100 square. Okay, so this is what we get after 2 conversion periods. Let's go for the third conversion period also. As I told you, for the third conversion period, this A2 will become the principal amount for the third conversion period. Okay, so now I have got P3, R and 1. So what will be my I3? The interest for the third conversion period, that will be P3 into R by 100. Now what will be the amount after 3 conversion periods? That will be P3 as usual plus P3 into R by 100, or I can write it as P3 1 plus R by 100. And now P3, the value, I will substitute this. So this becomes P into 1 plus R by 100 square into 1 plus R by 100, or I can write it as P into 1 plus R by 100 Q. Okay. Now, instead of going on further, now I can generalize it. You see, the formula is the amount that I am getting is, when it was one conversion period, the exponent was 1. After 2 conversion periods, the exponent becomes 2. After 3 conversion period, the exponent becomes 3. So what will be exponent after n number of conversion periods? Obviously. So after n conversion periods, just generalize this formula and your total amount, final amount will be P into 1 plus R by 100 power n. Okay? And what will be the interest actually paid by the borrower? See, what is the difference between simple interest and compound interest? What I am getting is that this, in simple interest, I have calculated interest first, then I added it to principal to get the amount. In case of compound interest, you will be getting amount first, then subtract P from it, and you will get the interest. P multiplied by 1 plus R by 100 power n minus P, or I can write it as P 1 plus R by 100 power n minus 1. This is how you can find out the interest in case of compound interest. Okay. So I think this is clear to you. What is compound interest? Now, this was the easy compound interest, when the rate of interest is same for each conversion period. Okay. Now, what will happen? Now, I am making it a little bit more complex. So, what will happen if the rate of interest is not fixed? Rate of interest keeps on changing. I don't say it keeps on increasing. It may decrease also, it may increase also. It will depend on the mutual agreement of the lender and the borrower. So, what happens if the rate of interest keeps on changing after certain number of conversion periods? Again, number of conversion periods is also not constant. It also keeps on changing. So for that purpose, how do we calculate? Suppose that for a given principal P, okay, the rate of interest is R1 for N1 number of conversion periods, R2 for N2 number of conversion periods, R3 for N3 number of conversion periods, and so on. It keeps on changing and it becomes Ri for Ni number of conversion periods. Okay. How do we calculate? First, I will start from the first one. Okay. So, after N1 conversion periods, what will be amount? Let's take it as A1. Okay. This amount will become principal multiplied by 1 plus R1 by 100, because rate of interest is R1. Okay. And number of conversion periods is N1. Right. Now after N1 conversion periods, this amount will become the new principal. Okay, so let's take it as P2, just as I have done earlier. Then after next N2 number of conversion periods, remember now this is the principal amount. So for this, the amount A2 will be equal to P2 multiplied by 1 plus R2 by 100 power N2. And if I replace P2 by this value, this will become P multiplied by 1 plus R1 by 100 power N1 multiplied by 1 plus R2 by 100 power N2. Okay, and this will become the principal for the next period. Okay, for the next period, so this will become, let's take it as P3. I will take it as P3. Now after next N3, after next N3, once again this is P3, so your amount A3 will become P3 1 plus R3, because now once again the rate of interest has been changed. Okay, so this will become R3 by 100 power N3, and if I put the value of P3 from here, this A3 will become P 1 plus R1 by 100 power N1 multiplied by 1 plus R2 by 100 power N2 and 1 plus R3 by 100 power N3. Okay, once again I will generalize it. How do we generalize it? Just you see, after each year this similar type of factor is being multiplied after each conversion period. So after Ni conversion periods or after the complete period, what will happen? Your final amount will be equal to P 1 plus R1 by 100 power N1 multiplied by 1 plus R2 by 100 N2 multiplied by 1 plus R3 by 100 N3, and this will go on, and last factor will be 1 plus Ri by 100 Ni. Okay, so this is your formula to find out the compound interest if the rates are changing in this way. Okay, so I think you have understood. Now I will make it a little bit more complex. Now in all those cases that I have discussed earlier, you have seen that there was a fixed number of conversion period or there was a predefined conversion of period. Now what will happen if the interest is compounded continuously? Because what you have seen is that interest was compounded after a particular period of time or predefined period of time. That time is called the conversion period. That is, say, for after 1 year or after 6 months or after 3 months or after 1 month, whatever it is, but it was a predefined time. So you can easily calculate what will be the number of conversion periods in 1 year and what should be the rate of interest per conversion period, and this all you can do. Now what will happen if interest is being compounded continuously? See, this all depends on the need of the borrower and the mutual understanding between borrower and the lender. If it is said that the interest will be compounded continuously, if interest is being compounded continuously, means your conversion period is so small that you cannot, what is the meaning of continuous? Means your conversion period is so small that you cannot determine the actual interval of time. So for that purpose, we shall be using the formula for the thing that limits that you have studied earlier. Okay, now for that, suppose that your principal amount is P, your rate of interest is given to be R. Okay, now what is M? Suppose that N is the total time. Okay, N is the total time, and I assume that number of conversion periods in 1 year. I denote it by M. Okay, if I denote it by M, then what is rate per conversion period? As I told you, it will be rate divided by number of conversion periods. So this will be R over M. Got it? Now, obviously, after 1 year or after whatever is the number of years, let it be. So what is the total number of? In 1 year is M. So total number of conversion periods in N years. Total time in years. So in N years, this will be M multiplied by N. If 1 year, the number of conversion period is M. So for total number of conversion periods will be Mn. So now what will be my amount? This will be principal multiplied by 1 plus R by M, that is the rate of interest per conversion period, divided by 100, and power will be total number of conversion period, that is M into N. Okay, or I can write it as P 1 plus R by 100M over Mn. But this was correct if the number of conversion periods has been defined or it is measurable. If it is not measurable, if it is so small that you cannot differentiate between two periods, so in that case, what will happen? I will use one of the formula for this. I will for limits. In limits, you have seen that if there are two functions, one is fx, okay, fx is such that limit x tending towards infinity is equal to 0. There is another function gx, it is such that limit x tending towards infinity is equal to infinity. Okay, if there are two such functions are given to you, in that case, what was the limit? Limit x tending towards infinity 1 plus fx raised to the power gx. Okay, this was defined as limit x tending towards infinity e raised to the power fx multiplied by gx. this is the basic formula that I shall be using to solve this. Why? Because as I told you that the interest is being compounded continuously, that means the number of conversion periods will be infinite. Okay, for 1 year also, because it is being continuously compounded. So in this case also, m is tending towards infinity. Okay, just remember this thing, m is tending towards infinity, and if m is tending towards infinity, that means r by 100m. See, limit m tending towards infinity. What is r by 100m? If the denominator is tending towards infinity, so the whole thing will become 0. So I can say this as fx. Okay. Similarly, the other thing, that limit m tending towards infinity, m into n. N is constant, m is tending towards infinity, so this will also be tending towards infinity. So I can say this mn to be as gx, which was tending towards infinity. So if this is so, now I will use in this way, my total amount will be actually equal to, for compounded continuously, for, or I should write it as for continuous compounding, the total amount will be equal to limit m tending towards infinity p 1 plus r by 100m over mn. Okay, now you see, this is your fx, this is gx. Okay, so this will become what? P, because p is constant, so this will become limit m tending towards infinity 1 plus r by 100m raised to the power mn. So now this is fx, this is gx. So what will be this? This will become p into e. And what is e? I think all of you know that this e is actually the Napier's constant. Okay, that is used in logarithms and all. So that e raised to the power fx multiplied by gx. So fx is what? R by 100m multiplied by m into n. Okay, so this is what? M gets cancelled and your amount becomes p multiplied by e raised to the power r into n divided by 100. So this is the actual amount that is to be paid if the formula is, this is the actual amount if the interest is to be compounded continuously. Okay, so as I see the time is running out and the video is getting too long, so I would like to give a break to this. And before I go give an end to this video, I would once again request all of you, if you have not subscribed my channel, please watch the full video, and I will be giving another video for this chapter also, for this interest portion only, for the remaining concepts on this. So before I go, I once again request, if you have not subscribed, just please subscribe and press the bell icon so that you can get the notifications of my upcoming videos. So till then,